My dad wasn't a drinker at all. He drank Guinness. There's an ordinary say you're not a drinker, but you still drink. You know, a drinker is someone who goes fucking crazy, but you're not a drinker if you go to the pub every Friday. That's not a drinker. Look at this. Chang, Leo, Singh, boxes and boxes of empty bottles. They bring them to be recycled. My God, they were drinking last night. Have a look at this. Kun kin tuk kun tini, yeah? And kun kin arai ma kun. Hong Tong gap soda, soda. Nam soda. Okay. Every night, Jedwan. Wow, she drinks every night, and look at her. She looks. This video is about my relationship with alcohol in Thailand. Alcohol was never a problem for me before I came to Thailand. It's only become a problem for me in the last 3 years, if it's a problem. And I know a lot of you will say it is a problem. By the way, if you're wondering, we always give a bit of diversity in our videos here. I'm not going to stray from the subject, but just to say, where are we? We're in a restaurant. Restaurants in Bangkok and street food vendors in Bangkok take a day off on a Monday. This is a Monday morning, and they haven't really cleaned up. Well, they did clean up a little bit from the night before. I can show you a little bit about what's behind the scenes in these places that you don't see. But anyway, I'll show you something. Look at this. Chang, Leo, Singh, boxes and boxes of empty bottles. They bring them to be recycled. Look at over here. We got, I don't know what this is. Well, I do know what it is, but you know what it is too. It's Thai shit. We've also got the regular Hong Tong, which, to be honest with you, I wouldn't wash my car with it. But just to tell you about my relationship with alcohol. I grew up in Dublin, the capital of the Republic of Ireland. And if you know anything about Ireland, you know that alcohol is part of the culture. I had my first Guinness when I was under 10 years old. I can't remember specifically, but it was around the time I made my first Holy Communion. I was about 7. If you're wondering what Holy Communion is, it's a time in the Catholic religion where kids of 7 go and become proper Catholics, whatever the hell. If there is such a thing, is there? Anyway, that's when I had my first Guinness. Oh, you may not know this about Ireland, but if you look at the Irish passport and the Guinness logo, they both use the harp. Ireland is the only country in the world that has a musical instrument on their passport, and the only country in the world that has the logo of their national drink on their passport. There was actually a dispute between Guinness and the Irish government when the Irish state was first formed as to who had the right to use the harp, either as a national symbol or a company logo. And the argument was that you can't use the national symbol as a company logo because it will give you an unfair advantage, let's say. I think that's what the reason was. But anyway, the here's and the reels. You'll notice that the Guinness logo and the national symbol on the passport are mirror images of each other. That was the solution they came up with to solve or to fix the argument. An Irish solution to an Irish problem. Drink is part of me. Drink is part of Irish culture. It's ingrained in it. I'm not making excuses for alcoholism. I'm not an alcoholic. And I'll say that again. I'm not an alcoholic. But I do use alcohol a lot. And because of the fact I was brought up in a culture that's saturated in alcohol, it's normal for me. One of the things that I could never understand about Thailand is how they eat food and drink alcohol. That's a complete no-no in Irish culture. We drink because we drink and we eat because we eat, but the two never cross paths. It might be the case now in the new generation, but I doubt it though. I doubt it. When I came here, that was one of the biggest single things that I couldn't get my head around. Eating food while drinking. It just doesn't make sense to me. It makes absolutely no sense to me. When I first came to Thailand, I started drinking Hong Tong because I wanted to, experience whatever the Thais experience. And I remember drinking it with Est Cola. And after a few glasses with Est Cola, you couldn't really taste it. Because to be honest with you, I'm not saying it's bad, it's wonderful. We can't say bad things. It's wonderful, it's a wonderful, wonderful, wonderful beverage. But I prefer something a little different, if you know what I mean. But I remember drinking that stuff. And I did that for a long time. I lived in our mother's house for 8 years. And I used to drink at the end of the street. There was a table at the end of the street. There was a table at the end of the street where the beer bandit used to drink every night. Every night. He'd buy large bottles of Leo. And he'd buy a bottle of Hong Tong. We'd have an ice bucket. And I go up and buy Hong Tong. He'd buy Hong Tong. At that stage, I think it was, what is a bottle of Hong Tong now? 400 baht, 500 baht, it's cheap enough. It was a cheap night's drinking. And we'd be drinking every night. And then if it wasn't Hong Tong, it would be the Leo. So I'm drinking the Hong Tong. And it was interspersed with Leo, you see. Then I went on to sing for a while. When I say I went on to sing, I went on to sing. And I'd be drinking. At that stage, it would have been every night. I'd have either a 4-pack of Leo or a couple of large bottles of Sing. And I used to smoke at the time. I was a lot younger. And it didn't affect me, to be honest with you. Well, it didn't seem to affect me. Obviously, when I say it didn't seem to affect me, obviously it was having an effect on me. So, that went on for years. When I say years, I was there for 8 years in that house. Every Friday night was an extravaganza of a drinking session. I remember I went to do a course to become an English teacher. I did the course in Siloam. And it was the best thing I ever did. I became a qualified CELTA English teacher. But every Friday night, there was about 20 people on the course. There was Australians, British, Irish, South Africans, Filipinos. A group of us would go off on the sauce in Siloam and we'd give it everything we got. We're in Thailand, we're partying, that was the deal. Then, I won't say then came COVID, but I kept up my drinking. Until roughly when COVID hit. That's when I shaved my head as well, by the way. Anyway, during COVID, everyone's life changed. I mean, you don't need me to tell you. Thailand just closed down. No tourists. Bars closed. The usual, So I decided to take the bull by the horns and get myself straightened out. At this stage, by the way, I forgot to tell you, I'd already packed in smoking. I packed in smoking when Harry was born. That was around 2018. Anyway, I decided to take the bull by the horns. See, I know when I do something, I go hell for leather at it. If I'm interested in doing it. There's no half measures with me, it's all or nothing. So I heard about the OMAD diet and I heard about the keto diet. So what did I do? I combined both of them. I was 100 kilos at the time. 100 kilos now, give or take. But I decided to go on the keto diet and do the OMAD diet. I remember the first week was pretty difficult, but the motivation was there. I tell you what motivated me. I tell you what happened the day it happened. I was on the sauce up in Pontootene, up in the house in Pontootene, probably drinking with the beer bandit Leo. I wasn't on the gin at this stage. And I got so wasted. I woke up the next morning in the horrors. But I want something, you have something to cure the way you feel. I never got a hangover in my life, by the way. I've never suffered from a hangover. I felt groggy, but never a hangover. It just doesn't affect me that way. But I did feel shit. And I bought some minced meat, or the Americans say ground beef, or minced beef. And I'd forgotten to buy pasta. But I had onions and tomato puree, and I made myself the sauce, a spaghetti bolognese sauce. And there was a sliced pan, we call them in Ireland. I think you call them sliced loaves in the UK. Pan comes from the Latin word panis, meaning bread. But a sliced pan, if you ever go to Dublin, you'll ask for a sliced pan, that's what you get a sliced loaf. So I had a sliced pan, and then I eat the whole sliced pan with butter, well, more or less the whole thing, dipping it into the bolognese sauce. And I had the guts of 2 litres of milk. And I was absolutely bloated. I remember lying on the bed. That was a Saturday afternoon. And I remember lying on the bed, couldn't move. And I just went to sleep. I don't know what happened watching YouTube. But anyway, woke up the next morning. Here we go, here's the grub. But I woke up the next morning and I realised I'd lay on that bed at 4 o'clock in the afternoon, and now it's 8 o'clock in the morning. So I hadn't eaten in 14 hours, give or take. And I said to myself, I wonder what will happen if I just kept this going. And then I Googled OMAD and stuff like that. And then I went hammer and tongs. Capone, thank you. Thank you. Kintani. Come chop that. Okay, thank you.
Okay.
Thank you so much. Come on. This is a very nice place. I've been here before. We made a video here inside once before. If you're wondering why I'm sitting on the outside, there's people in there eating. And it's very quiet and family orientated, so I don't want to be blabbering on when people are enjoying their meals. He's bringing me out some tissues. Very nice. Thank you so much. So I got tissues as well. I don't know what this is. It's fried egg with rice and minced pork. There you go. Have a look. As I said, it's not a food channel, but it's become a feature. It's become a feature on this channel. And then some chili dressing, you could call it, if you want. But anyway, I went for 40 hours without eating. 40 hours. Didn't last the 48. And I went for a 5-kilometre walk. No, I didn't. I went for a 3-kilometre walk. And I kept that up for about a week, and I extended it to a 5-kilometre walk. And I was doing that for about 6 weeks. And my body weight went down from 100 kilos. It was over 100 kilos. And at my lightest, I was 78 kilos. And this was during the middle of COVID. It was easy to do. It wasn't easy to do. It was relatively easy to do because there was nothing else to do. You know what I mean? So I got myself down, but Jesus, did I look gaunt. I looked like death warmed up. I looked absolutely terrible because when you lose that much weight that quickly, the skin stays there and I looked like a famine victim. But anyway, it was fantastic. I got my body mass index down to normal, blood pressure down to normal, got health insurance because they won't give you health insurance here if your blood pressure is too high. You have to get it down. I got it down. I remember going to the doctor and he gave me a plan to get it down because even with that amount of exercise and eating like that, it was still high. Got it down anyway. Very nice. So, this was all COVID time. And I maintained the keto diet. but I didn't maintain the OMAD. I did it for about 6 weeks, maybe 2 months. But there's a limit, because when the OMAD diet is grand, provided you have no friends. Because if you go out for a day with friends and family and they want to have something to eat, you can't eat. Because if you've eaten already that day, that's your one meal gone. And you have to eat the keto, which is another thing. We wouldn't be eating rice if you're on keto. And the reason I'm telling you about the OMAD and the keto, I gave up drinking. I was off to drink all the way during COVID. I was off to drink for Jesus. It must have been the best part of a year. And then it was November, I don't know, it was just as COVID was ending. We were up in Pontootini and there were helicopters flying over the house. And I heard the helicopters and I shouted to Harry, "Harry, quick, quick, helicopters, helicopters." And we ran out and there was a step, I don't know if you can see that behind me, a step like just maybe, I don't know, 10 millimeters or something like that. It was a fairly high step. What's 10 millimeters? 6 inches? I don't know. Anyway, I only speak English, I don't speak Imperial. Anyway, I missed my footing and I broke me, what's it called? I broke me 5th metatarsal. Imagine that's your foot. The 5th metatarsal runs along where your little toe is. And it was excruciating. It was almost a 4 millimeter break. And 4 millimeters requires surgery. 4 millimeters or more requires surgery. But I was just made it. And I had to get this boot. It cost me 10,000 baht, $300, that you would inflate and strap on with Velcro, and you could put pressure on your foot, you could walk. It's an amazing thing, and it speeds up the healing. But that knocked my exercise on the head. That was it. That was it. I couldn't exercise. And I'd already given up although I was still on the keto, I'd already given up the OMAD. And I was still off the drink. But when I broke me metatarsal, I got the flu at the same time. It was the most depressing fucking couple of weeks of my life when I had the flu with that. And I remember when I recovered from the flu, I was still hopping around with my broken foot. I just started drinking again. When I say started drinking again, I stopped giving up drink, if you know what I mean. And then it all went downhill from there. Let me finish this. And we continue. I'm going to settle the bill there. And then I'll tell you how I became acquainted with gin. Excuse me. I've just been in there. That's where the restaurant is. Absolutely fantastic. 85 baht. Can't beat it. Gin, okay? I got fed up drinking Leo. I know I'm not an alcoholic because I don't need to drink. I drink because I want to drink. And it was a conscious decision for me to switch from beer to gin because I was tired of drinking beer. I was tired of the heartburn. I never had gin. Gin had never crossed my lips for the entirety of my life until I started drinking it here in Thailand about, say, would it be 6-7 months ago? Maybe more? Probably more because I've been enjoying it so much. Time flies, you know yourself. My dad had a bottle of gin on a cabinet in the sitting room. My dad wasn't a drinker at all. He drank Guinness. There's an argument you say you're not a drinker, but you still drink. You know, a drinker is someone who goes fucking crazy, but you're not a drinker if you go to the pub every Friday. That's not a drinker. And that was me. That's why I wouldn't class myself as an alcoholic. Anyway, I remember smelling the gin when I was a kid, and it didn't smell unpleasant. And that kind of stayed with me for my life, but I never even considered drinking gin. I was never a shorts person. And then I started watching gin videos on YouTube, comparing Gilbey's with Gordon's and Bombay Sapphire and Hendrix and you name it. And I began to look for where I could buy gin, and there's a 7-Eleven just down the road from here that sells Gilbey's, and it's less than 400 baht. So I said to myself, it's got to be worth it. So I bought it, and we went up to Pontootini that night, and I sat in my man cave up there, and I didn't have tonic water, I had lemon soda, and it was such a wonderful experience. I really enjoyed it, and that's how I became interested, well, more than interested, infatuated at that stage. That's what it was an infatuation. So then this place opens up behind me here. I made a video about it. From the time the foundations were laid until the time they opened their doors. It's about 7 months ago. I did it from start to finish. Not many people watch the video, but if you're interested, there's a link in the description. 7-Eleven start to finish. But they opened up here. They sell Gilbey's and Gordon's. There aren't many 7-Elevens in this district that sell gin, but they do. They sell Gordon's and Gilbey's. And if you ask a Thai in a 7-Eleven what gin and the crap, they haven't a clue what you're talking about. What is bottle? They haven't a clue what you're talking about. And you're pointing to it, and there's vodkas. Gilbey's do vodka as well, and there's Absolute vodka. They like that here too. Anyway, they don't know what gin is. My wife calls it whiskey. You're drinking too much whiskey. It's not whiskey. By the way, whiskey is an Irish word, Gaelic word, Ishka an Baha. When the Brits came to Ireland, they saw the monks making whiskey. It's not Scotch. It's not Scottish. It's Irish. The only reason Scotch is more popular is because of the Irish famine. All the distilleries closed down because of the famine, and the Scots took full advantage of that. Anyway, that's history. But Ishka an Baha, the Gaelic words Ishka an Baha means water of life, and Ishka is a Gaelic word corrupted into English as whiskey. Ishka, whiskey. That's where the term whiskey comes from. The water of life. And that will show you how ingrained it is in Irish culture. So, fast forward to the present day. Over the last 6 months, I've been buying at least 1 bottle of gin a week and drinking it at the weekends. And more recently, I've been buying maybe 2 bottles of gin and drinking it intermittently, maybe on a Monday night. Don't drink Tuesday, Wednesday, then Thursday. And then last night we came back to Bangkok. And I hate coming back to Bangkok. I just hate coming back to Bangkok because she does the washing up there and she brings it back, and we have to unpack the car and make the bed and do all this kind of stuff. And oh Jesus, iron the uniform, Harry's uniform for tomorrow, iron her uniform, do all the stuff, get ready for Monday. And I just said to myself, oh God. So to make it easier, I got stuck into me Tanqueray. I bought that Tanqueray on Thursday. This is Monday, and I still have about 1/4 of a bottle left. So that's me and alcohol in Thailand. And when I say I don't feel the effects, or I don't know what's going on in there, you don't know what's going on in there. As a man, I'm afraid to go to the doctor because I don't want to know what's going on in there if it's not good. But that's a really ridiculous way to look at things. But I feel fine. I feel good. But, you know, many people have said that, and then they keel over the next day. We're going to keel over at some stage. I don't want to have liver problems. There's a lot of things that can go wrong with you, and it'll affect your life dramatically. And liver problems is one of those things. Kidney problems, stroke, god damn. During the course of making this video, I have walked about 2 kilometers. I incorporate exercise into my daily routine. My diet is not good. My drinking habits are not good. But any kind of drinking, when I talk drinking on top of alcohol, any kind of drinking habit is not good, because no amount of alcohol, or no small amount of alcohol can do you any good. So, well, in Ireland we'd say the opposite. My mother used to give me hot whiskey with sugar and cloves. God, it was disgusting when I had a fever when I was a kid. All kids when I was that age got a hot whiskey going to bed if they had a cold or a fever. So here we are at one of the most popular and well-run drinking establishments in all of Ding Dang in Bangkok, the Wow Bar. I know there's a few of you who watch my channel who drink here. It's wonderful. It's absolutely wonderful. I thoroughly recommend it. The only problem with the Wow Bar is it's only a hop, skip and a jump from where I live. And I have had many the night in there. They have draft beer in there. They got draft Sing, and when you order your gin and tonic, it's a Bombay Sapphire. That's what he has. He gives you the shot glass and you do the shot yourself. It's lovely. It's lovely. It's a well-run establishment. It's too easy for me to enjoy myself there. So there you go, lads. This is me and alcohol in Thailand. I don't think I will ever give it up because it's part of my culture. I don't expect people to understand that. But if you're Irish, especially if you're living outside the old sod is Ireland, especially if you're living abroad, you need to reassure yourself sometimes. You need the comfort zone. And you're probably saying, I'm saying I'm not an alcoholic, but I'm using all this language about comfort zone and the need and all the rest of it. Honestly, lads, I can do without alcohol. I prefer to drink milk. And milk is my safety valve. If I don't want to drink, I'll just drink milk. And there's no way I can drink alcohol after drinking milk. Not for at least 5 or 6 hours. So there you go. This is honest. This is me and alcohol in Thailand. I'm not going to say I'm going to stop drinking. I'm not going to stop drinking. I enjoy drinking. Because if I said I'm going to stop drinking, that would be an absolute lie to myself and to you. It's part of me. It's part of my culture. I could almost say it's part of this channel. So there you are, lads. Drinking in Thailand. It can be, I'm lucky that I don't drink in bars. Okay, that's a bar, but it's not a girly bar. It's a bar, it's a proper bar. So I'm lucky I don't go to Sukhumvit and places like that and drink. I drink at home. I drink in places like this and I can walk home and I'm safe in the knowledge that all I've done is drink. So there you go. You might disagree with me. You might say he's in denial or whatever he is. My God, they were drinking last night. Have a look at this. Kun kin tuk kun to ne, yeah? And kun kin arai ma kun hong tong gap soda, soda, nam soda. Okay. Every night, Jedwan. Wow, she drinks every night, and look at her. She looks healthy enough, and I hope you think I look healthy enough. Anyway, lads, let me know what you think in the comment section. I'm sure you will. But if you haven't done so already, click the like button, the share button, subscribe button, do all those wonderful things, and I'll bring you back another wonderful video very soon. Thanks for joining me.